All right. Okay, hey guys, I hope everyone is doing well. This is Rudy. Gonna make a quick video tonight. It's Sunday night, and I went to Fair Park Bible Fellowship in South Dallas today, and it was a great church. It was a great sermon, and I want to do a video on ridicule, because I think it's an incredibly important topic, and it's incredibly important that we all develop a thick skin, because as we continue to speak up for the truth, and as we continue to become more active and activist, we're going to have to deal with ridicule. And it is the preferred weapon of our enemy. They don't like to deal in facts. They don't like to deal in, you know, what the truth and what the facts state. They just like to call names. And I just took 2 minutes and wrote down a bunch of names that came to my mind. If I missed any, you tell me. One quick thing, somebody sent me an email and they said that Obama, I'm jumping off topic here, but just quickly. They said Obama is the head of the United Nations, or he will be soon. Or I got to look that up, and I got to become more familiar with it. I'm not totally familiar with the whole story. But there was a time when the President of the United States, it was just unheard of that he would be lead of the United Nations. You know, just, I don't know what the details of that. I got to investigate it. I admit I don't know my facts, and I should have looked it up. But somebody sent me an email and said to mention it. So I'm going to research that later on tonight or as the week goes on. But there's no way that a President of the United States should be also have any membership or any position whatsoever in the United Nations. That just absolutely should not be the case. Before I get into the names I wrote, I wanted to, this book right here, Community Organizer. You know, Obama was a community organizer, right? It's called Rules for Radicals. Oh, I got my finger over the thing. Rules for Radicals, okay? And Obama was a community organizer. Of course, he didn't do anything else. You know, his whole history is nothing but a sham and a lie and a fraud. But he did perform community organization work, and the head community organizer is a guy by the name of Saul Alinsky. And Saul Alinsky dedicated his book to Lucifer. I'm not freaking joking. The very first page, I'll read it to you real quick. Lest we forget at least an over-the-shoulder acknowledgement to the very first radical from all our legends, mythology, and history, and who is to know where mythology leaves off and history begins, or which is which? The first radical known to man who rebelled against the establishment and did it so effectively that at least he won his own kingdom, Lucifer. Okay, so I'm not joking when I say that Saul Alinsky, you know, dedicated the first page of his book to Lucifer, and that was this book is written for community organization. And Obama was a community organizer, and this was his playbook. And let me tell you what it says about ridicule. Well, I want to read to you. He goes through a bunch of rules. This is on page 128. It says the fourth rule. Now, this is before I get to ridicule, but I think the fourth and let's see. Yeah, the fifth rule is ridicule, but I want to read to you the fourth rule because I think that's important too. The fourth rule is make the enemy live up to their own book of rules. You can kill them with this, for they can no more obey their own rules than the Christian's church can live up to Christianity. So if you have ethics, if you have some sort of morality, if you have a golden rule inside you that says treat others as you want to be treated, if you like to be kind to people, if you like to be polite, then what rule number 4 is saying is, you know, if you're Saul Alinskyite, is make them live up to their own rules. You know, you don't have to treat them with any politeness or integrity or, you know, any sort of, what's the word, professional courtesy. You treat them like crap, but you make them live up to their rules. Because the Bible tells us that, you know, we should, you know, pray for our enemies, and we should be nice to them that despitefully use us and things like that. So they want to play upon that. So you have to be aware of that. And the Bible also says don't throw your pearls before the swine. And so when a person starts taking up all your time and all they're doing is ridicule and they're not offering any facts, block their butts if they're on YouTube and get away from them. And just simply don't throw your pearls before the swine. They don't deserve your attention, and your time can be spent in you know, endeavors elsewhere, helping the cause for righteousness and truth. But you don't have to spend all your time before the swine. They will purposely try to eat up all your time with their ridicule and their name calling, and they're not offering any facts whatsoever. But let me read the 5th rule. The fourth rule carries within it the fifth rule. This is what Saul Alinsky has to say about ridicule. Ridicule is man's most potent weapon. It is almost impossible to counterattack ridicule. Also, it infuriates the opposition, who then react to your advantage. Okay, there you go. Saul Alinsky, he promotes ridicule. That's one of his favorite topics. And it is infuriating, right? The normal human being doesn't like to be ridiculed by their fellow man. If you haven't ever been through that process, it's very tough in the beginning. And I'm not saying I'm a professional at it, and I do get infuriated from time to time, but I've had my share of it, and I've kind of developed a little bit of a thick skin. I'm still working on it though. But I wrote down some names here of things that I've been called, and you may have been called some things too, right? Conspiracy theorist. That's the number one thing they use on mainstream media, all these so-called intellectual people. You're a crack-jawed, nutty, nutcase conspiracy theorist. Birther, that's a derogatory term. If you're a white person speaking bad against Obama, you're a racist. You got a, I got a white satin robe in the back closet, and I got a purple robe, and I'm a Grand Dragon, Ku Klux Klan, full-blown racist, because I just don't like what Obama's doing to the country, and I think he's ineligible to be president. You must be a racist. So get prepared to be called a racist if you're a white person. If you're a black person and you're speaking out for truth or justice, or you're speaking out against Obama, be prepared to be called an Uncle Tom. Or if you're a lady, you're like I guess Aunt Thomas, or what's the Aunt Tom? What's the lady's name for Tom? I don't know. Aunt Tanny, I guess. I don't know. But what I would say is to help you develop more thicker skin, just if you got a good family and they all got like a sense of humor, start calling each other names to help you prepare for it when you go out and tell the truth to the world, right? Say, hey, birther, go take out the trash, or say, hey, conspiracy theorist, can you wash the dishes? Or, hey, racist, we need somebody to mow the lawn today, racist. Are you going to mow the lawn? So just call each other names all the time. So it just becomes a normal thing, because as the world gets worse and worse, and as you speak up for truth, you're going to have to get very, very used to being called and ridiculed and be called names. And so just, start practicing now, Call your wife a racist, or if you're black, call your husband an Uncle Tom. Say, hey, Uncle Tom, can you bring some water upstairs when you come upstairs, Uncle Tom? If you're a Terry Lakin and you stand up for what's right, and you stand up for the Constitution, be prepared to be called a coward. Even though you've spent 18 years as an Army physician and been deployed in multiple combat scenarios, be prepared for little YouTube pipsqueaks who've never done anything in their life to call you a coward. If you believe that 9/11 investigation needs to be done, be expected to be called a twoofer. I've seen these people who drink their beer on YouTube and they got their dark sunglasses. Hey, Luke. And they sit and drink their beer and they look at the camera. The twoofers, these twoofers, they figured out that the government told us a twoof. So be prepared to be called a twoofer, and call your wife a twoofer. If you got some kids that are old enough, say, hey, twoofer, clean up your room. Or, hey, birther, why don't you wash the dishes or clean your window, or whatever you got to do. If you're a creationist, you're absolutely a hillbilly, redneck, Bible-thumping, piece of crap that hadn't figured out, got into the 21st century with education, and, you're not educated, and you haven't been to college, and you just still think God created the world. How stupid is that? God created the world. Hey, Billy, we got one over here that thinks God created the world. That's the stupidest thing I've ever heard. Wow. If you say anything against homosexuality, you are a homophobe. You're a xenophobe, homophobe. If you don't like homosexuality, you probably spent last night dragging homosexuals behind your truck and letting their body parts all roll off in the ditch. You are a homophobe. You probably want to murder all the homosexuals. If you look up at the sky and your whole sky is crisscrossed with a pattern of aluminum and strontium and barium, and it's blowing all over the sky, and you think, hey, what's up with that? I'd like to have somebody investigate that, because that don't look right at all. You are a chemtard. That's what you are. How about you chemtards? You chemtards are absolute stupidest people. You fall into the conspiracy theory, dumbasses. If you are a Ron Paul supporter, you are a constitutionalist, and you are dangerous. You have to be Somebody's got to watch you all the time, because you might go off and do a Timothy McVeigh. You might be like those people at Waco in the cult that believed in the Bible. You might be like that guy at Ruby Ridge that wanted to get out of society and just go live all by himself, and the government chased him down and shot his wife. If you believe in the Constitution, you are a very dangerous person. Those people speak about the Second Amendment and Article 2, Section 1, and they are just crazy, dangerous people. Don't ever get around those constitutionalists. And they associate with people called patriots. They actually like America. They actually think America is a good place to be, and they want to make it a better place. And they are just crazy patriots and dangerous, racist, patriot, constitutionalists. And you might even throw, if somebody questions, we have a huge Jewish influence in our government, or a huge Jewish influence in our media, or a huge Jewish influence in our banking. You are a Holocaust denier. You hate all Jews and you want to murder every one of them. You wish that the Holocaust had done the job. You are an evil bastard for questioning the Jewish influence in the world today. So, and if you don't like Muslims and the Quran, you are an Islamophobe. You are an Islamophobe, and you wish that the million Muslims that we've killed in Afghanistan and Iraq, that's not enough. You wish that we had killed all of them. So just because you say something bad about Islam or Muslims. See, Saul Alinsky, the fifth rule that he had was ridicule. And we have to develop a very thick skin. We have to get used to being ridiculed, and it's hard at first because your whole life you've worked to develop a sense of acceptance from people that you've respected, from people that you're around, from your family member, from your friends, and you work to be accepted by them. But when you realize that they've all been deceived and you start speaking the truth, one of their preferred weapons is to ridicule you. And so get used to being ridiculed. Practice it with your family. Call your family member a racist. Call him a Holocaust denier. Call him a birther. Call him a twofer. Call him, I don't know what. Just call him a constitutionalist or Uncle Tom, Grand Dragon KKK. Just build up your skin, right? Build up your skin, because you're going to need it. As things get worse and worse, and as people get more and more deceived, if you're going to decide to speak up for the truth, you better get used to having ridicule, and it is the preferred weapon of our enemy. And not only that, but you better educate yourself on the topics that you speak about, so that you can come back at them with facts, because ultimately the truth will win out, and ultimately, the truth will win, and it doesn't matter all the names that they throw at you, and we'll see who wins in the end, right? Who will have the last laugh, and just keep telling the truth. So, I can't think of anything else. One last question, the end of the video. Hopefully I got enough time. This is a question about Jewish people. Okay? And this is a sincere question. When you define Israel, right? I know there's a lot of discussion in the Bible about Israel and Gentiles, right? And there's all this question about who are the real Israelites, and you got replacement theology. And I'm not going to talk about that in detail right now, but I just want to ask the question, the covenants that God has with Israel that are eternal, do you think that taking part in those covenants is done by DNA? In other words, the seed of Abraham, and it's a bloodline, and so that it's your bloodline, it's your DNA? Or do you think that being an Israelite is a nationality? Or and I'm talking about a Jew now, right? Is being Jewish, right? Let me just change the question. Is being Jewish, is it determined by your DNA? Is it determined by your nationality? Or is it determined by your belief system? And that also means, I'm talking about the covenants in the Bible that apply to being Jewish. Now that's a different topic altogether than ridicule, but I wanted to throw that out there for consideration. Because pre-tribulationists make a huge distinction between Jews and Gentiles. And so my question is, if I'm a person in the world today and I want to claim the covenants that God has as a Jewish person, can I change my beliefs and become Jewish? Can I change my nationality and become Jewish? Or is it purely a bloodline and DNA? That's just something to consider. I've got my own thoughts about it, but I wanted to throw that out there because it's very important for pre-tribulationists and post-tribulationists that believe in a separated elect, an apartheid of the elect, and one unified elect. Anyway, that's all I got to say for tonight. Don't let them ridicule you to death. Stand up for the truth. Develop a very thick skin. Practice it with your family. God bless every one of you.